about the other big story this evening. The Sweden-India Nobel Memorial Week has begun. Nearly 40 top CEOs from both nations gathered today to find ways to strengthen business ties. Swedish companies like Ikea, Volvo, Saab, ABB have a large presence in India. I spoke to them at an exclusive CEO roundtable, and almost everyone is optimistic about the India growth story. In fact, many companies like Saab said that the FDI reforms, specifically in the defense sector, have given them newfound confidence to share technology with India and ramp up their R&D presence.
I don't know what will happen to our exports. Things can only hopefully not get worse in Europe and America in spite of Trump and in spite of Brexit. We don't know the results of that. At least Trump will know on November 8th, but Brexit, she says, by 31st March he'll press the Article 50, and it will take 2 years after that. So 2018 or something like that, or end of 2018. But with the better monsoon this year, I think demand in all over the country, especially in the rural area, should improve. The auto industry is improving, and after me, if you ask others, and especially Baba, he has a better finger on the pulse of the people because he still doesn't let his son manage his companies, whereas in my case, my sons have kicked me upstairs as the non-executive chairman. So
I have only my finger on the pulse of what's going on. He's got his whole hand. Coming to what's happening in the marketplace, let me say a couple of things. Number one, we are seeing a fairly steady increase in almost every sector as far as manufacturing is concerned in the Indian economy. It's not a big vertical boom, but we are seeing a steady increase. The truck market was going up. We have had a little setback because of the GST-related problems, because the GST is going to reduce the price of trucks by 10%, so people are saying, you know, I would rather buy a truck when April GST gets around. But that's a temporary issue. I think the underlying demand is going up. We see that in fast cars. But more than the automotive sector, we are now beginning to see this in the engineering sector, the capital goods sector.
Let me start by talking about the capital goods sector and the related infrastructure sectors. We're also joined here by the country managing director of ABB, Mr. Sanjeev Sharma. So let me ask you, Sanjeev, are you really seeing a revival on the ground at this point in time as far as ABB's India business is concerned? How confident do you feel? How optimistic do you feel about 2016?
Thank you. ABB focuses on in three areas. One is utilities, which is the power sector, generation, and the transmission and distribution. Other is industry, and the third one is transportation and infrastructure. So we definitely see that in the case of utilities, I think, and the transportation and infrastructure, there's a big movement forward. There are good investments. And industry is slightly muted for the reason Mr. Bajaj mentioned, that the capacity utilization and many corporates are carrying too much debt and they're over-leveraged.
I would also like to echo what Baba Kalyani said. I think we see a lot of traction in our construction equipment business. It's growing at 40% plus year-on-year consistently for the last 15 months. Trucking industry, which was growing at about 27-28%, is still growing at 10% despite the expectation that due to GST, our taxes, which are cumulative of about 27%, may fall down to 19%. The truck prices would reduce, so it's a temporary probably setback, but still the industry is growing at 10%.
Let me ask you as far as Saab is concerned, and I know you continue to be confident and bullish on India. Given the changes that we've seen on several of the fronts that I just articulated, several reform measures that have been undertaken by the government, do you believe that the environment, the business climate has changed significantly since we last had the conversation 12 months ago here, or do you think that more work needs to be done?
Transfer of production has been ongoing in India from day one, basically. And we see the result of that. I think that what's missing is that R&D component, and that's what we are willing to share. And yes, all these changes in the processes, the new DDP, Make in India and so on, we are, very encouraged by that. I also think that we will see the results, and the output won't come tomorrow. It will come maybe in 2 or 3 years.
Now, with the possibility of a foreign company, specifically in sectors like defense, being able to have full control, because the cap is now no longer at 49%, it can go all the way to 100%. Do you believe that we are now going to see many more joint ventures and real partnerships which will involve the transfer of technology?
I think so. I mean, the increase of the FDI, of course, increases our confidence in actually doing what we call true technology transfer. Because it's, again, we are spending 25% of our turnover into R&D. And that's an extremely heavy investment that we're doing. But we have to do that to stay competitive. But it also gives us an edge where we can share.
A company that believes in the long term and doing things for the long term is Ikea. So Patrick, I'm walking up to you, the Deputy Country Manager of Ikea. Finally, you've kicked things off with your first store, which will be built over a couple of, what is it, 2018 or 2019 in Hyderabad?
Yes, the store in Hyderabad will open next autumn, so year 2017 at the end. Yeah. So it's the end of the first stop of the new development of retail. We've been here for many years doing sourcing. And of course also, as mentioned, bullish on the Indian market, not only because of the economy, but we believe a lot in the demography and the urbanization also. We are working a lot with young families, with people who live with kids. That's our main target group, and there will be more and more of them coming up.
Let me get in a word from Paulo Coelho of Ericsson. And Paulo, we were here last year as well talking about India, probably one of the countries that's going to go from 3G to 4G in the shortest period of time now. So the telecom sector is clearly one where we're seeing a lot of opportunity. How would your reading be today of the opportunities and challenges that you see in the market?
In my field, India is going through a phenomenal development. I think only 12 months ago, nobody would think that 4G would come so quickly. The price of a smartphone was still on the low end at $100 per unit. Now we have units at $30, $40 in the shops, which is creating a much larger market. We have seen basically a voice GSM market flipping into 4G all broadband in the space of 12 months. Thanks to, I would say, it's definitely the Geo launch that has created a pressure for everybody. But in a way, disrupting the market, creating an opportunity for the country. The country needs infrastructure. I think digital infrastructure is going to be great for the economical development. So from my angle, the development of digital networks, mobile digital networks, is going to be a phenomenal opportunity for the country to develop.